today we're going to put Maven in the perception neuron suit, and we're going to work in collaboration with some people remotely in Singapore from LaSalle, where we're going to have Andres, who's a researcher over there, and we're going to have another dancer in another suit, and we're going to have the two dancers dancing together remotely across the network.
Today is the first time we've actually been able to get two dancers in two motion capture suits at two ends of this collaboration.
We see ourselves as facilitators here to really be in the background and allow the creators to do their work with as few technical hiccups as possible. Our role at Target 3D is helping identify the right hardware technologies to be used in these projects and supporting as much as possible with their successful implementation. We're all about the mocap, and that's where we add value.
So there's this kind of basic technical challenge of just sending the data and minimizing latency as well for them to be able to interact with each other. In parallel, we want to see what is the best representation of those two bodies in the virtual space, and what is the best way for them to collaborate and dance together. And also, is this a tool for a choreographer, or do we want to turn this into a potential performance where you've got two performers in two different spaces? It's a research day, so it's great you're here, but you're going to find with us live a lot of our discoveries and findings. We're going to test a lot of things today, and some of the things are not going to work at all. Other things might trigger ideas.
For me, very much what I've been instigating and kind of pushing really is how much can the whole element of technology in it not just be an impressive mode of experience, but an emotional one, which is quite important as a dancer to have and as a dance performer as well.
Apart from the technical challenge is to see from a dancer's point of view how useful this would be as a tool for either the creation of dance work or for performance.
So in this project I wanted to focus on the movement itself and how to amplify the movement through the visualization, and how to build a connection between the visualization and the dancers.
I got involved with Dan and Maven a couple of years ago in a project which was kind of this mix between real-time dance performance, and then it kind of had this like club element to it as well.
The key for me particularly is how far can we go and ensure as well that essentially the tool is working for the dancer and not the dancer working for the tool, if that makes sense.
The mocap suit as a performance tool is such an expressive piece of kit.
We use two different type of technologies between my app and Neil's one. I'm working with open frameworks, which is pretty much using just the position of the body parts, versus Neil, who's working in Unreal, and you've got a full rigged avatar and 3D figure. The feeling was very different.
I kind of see my role in this in bringing together people from a very technical mentality with a very creative or an artist's mentality, an aesthetic mentality, and to really get those two groups of people communicating really, really well. And I kind of feel like I bridge that gap.
Traditionally, mocap has been a very, very expensive kind of thing to use, and like in terms of the equipment it involves, even just around as like this traditional kind of setup, there's lots of kind of cameras and rigging that you need. But the way that we've been approaching it is by using a smaller motion capture suit, which is inertial sensors, doesn't need the whole kind of camera kit, and we can just take it anywhere basically. And
on one hand you had a very cinematic view, and on the other hand you had something that was more abstract, and seeing how Maven was reacting to this was really interesting.
because I have to really understand what are the possibilities, what are the limitations, how far I can, from a spatial perspective, from a physical perspective, where I can go, what are the parameters of it.
And then I wanted to explore the authorship. What is the authorship behind the collaborative work in this field, especially when technology itself as a kind of agency?
The position of a dancer's body is really important. So we want to see how each dancer is reacting to the technology, but also how they felt together.
I think there were unexpected moments where I thought something wouldn't find its place, and that's where the potential was. And some places where I thought potential would be and it wasn't.
We had moments where some of the visuals were really working in connecting them, and moments where they were just kind of playing with the visuals and ignoring each other completely.
So it's forcing my body to articulate differently in order to find something externally, which is a very different process for a dancer. As a performer, as an artist, you're always searching within the unknown. So yeah, that's for me exciting.
Is this something we can use in a performance context where the visuals that are created are actually part of the performance?
One of the great aspects of having a person in a suit performing right in front of you, or even across the world, as we've demonstrated today, is that you have this kind of instant response and feedback of what's going on. Something really exciting about that, where it kind of brings back that element of what a live performance is the magic of someone really being there when you're seeing it live. Are they going to make a mistake? Did they get it right? Is there a kind of a happy accident in what they're doing?
All technicians are essentially artists at the end of the day. They have to be, especially in this field. You're not creating something that's dry and mechanical. You're creating something that's living and breathing. And I think that ethos is really permeated through the project from all angles. So I initially approached Target 3D because we needed to buy the motion capture suit, and we got some funding to do it. And then we sat down and we had a little meeting about what the project was about, and they became gradually more interested in it.
Target 3D likes to get involved in projects which are interesting, innovative. The technology has been around for many years, but the interesting things which come about it is how people use the technology. COVID is a great example of how adversity in a wider setting has made people think outside the box about how they can still deliver, in this case, creative performances, but in other cases, people still want to interact in virtual environments, in real time, doing creative work. Well, we've been speaking with Dan and his team about the next stage of this project, and we're really excited about where this can go. I mentioned earlier about scale, and it's really interesting to think about how many additional participants you could have contributing to a dance performance, but also how many people could then experience that in real time in different locations.